Hey guys, Legion here once again. We're playing the Stanley Parable because I'm bored in the quarantine and I'm getting bored of the games I mainly play. And we have yet to hear news of like the Ultimate Edition, Deluxe Edition, the new edition of Stanley Parable, which is gonna be made in it's gonna be remade into the Unity engine. But we have yet to know when that game is gonna come out, even if it's gonna come out at all. But let's just begin the game. I remember back then when the game was being played by everyone on the YouTube side of things, like the main gaming channels who played this. I mean, it started out that they'll have 2 mods, so now and then they made it into a standalone game, and then and then they remade the game again now with more options, and that's gonna be really good. So I want to try this game out. I know there's another game also. There's another game that works that's very similar to this game too, called Amazing Story, or An Amazing Story, or something like that. Alright.
This is the story of a man named Stanley. Stanley worked for a company in a big building where he was
Let's see now.
But Stanley simply couldn't handle the pressure. What if he had to make a decision? What if a crucial outcome fell under his responsibility? He had never been trained for that. No. This couldn't go any way except badly. The thing to do now, Stanley thought to himself, is to wait. Nothing will hurt me. Nothing will break me. In here I can be happy forever. I will be happy. Stanley waited. Hours passed, then days. Had years gone by? He no longer had the ability to tell. But the one thing he knew for sure, beyond any doubt, was that if he waited long enough, the answers would come. Eventually, someday, they would arrive. Soon, very soon now, this will end. He will be spoken to. He will be told what to do. Now it's just a little bit closer. Now it's even closer. Here it comes.
Oh. The end is never the end, the end is loading. Oh, it just restarts. Alrighty then, so I started off with that one.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers.
Oh.
At first, Stanley assumed he'd broken the map, until he heard this narration and realized it was part of the game's design all along. He then praised the game for its insightful and witty commentary into the nature of video game structure and its examination of structural narrative tropes. So, now that you're here, what do you think? Isn't this a fun and unique place to be?
For me, it's
Why
just
don't we take a minute just to drink it all in? Okay, I'm over it now. What do you think? Are you sick of this gag yet?
Oh.
Ah, then in that case we'll continue. But now, here comes the real question.
What?
What do you think would have happened if you had told me that you wanted this to stop? Do you think it would have been particularly different? Would I have taken the same idea but rephrased it superficially to fit that answer? Perhaps you never would even have thought of it if I hadn't brought up the issue in the first place. Oh, now think about it. Would
What?
it be worth it for you to restart and then come back here just to do the other option? Clearly, this whole gag takes some time. What if the other option is even longer? How long will you spend in total just to have heard all the narration? Oh, and this is rich. Perhaps you just played the other option, and now you've come to see what happens in this one. So, what do you think? Which choice was the better one? Imagine if you had selected continue on your first playthrough, how tantalizing it would be not knowing what happens when you pick the other option. Indeed, you are one of the lucky ones. Though if the other option is really miserable to listen to, then perhaps you're not. In fact, I'm just going to say that no one who's listening to this is lucky.
Oh no, none of us are
I've built up
lucky.
the other option so much that I'm going to stop talking and leave you to your decision whether to come back here, continue with the game, or just sit in this spot forever and ever. Cheers.
What? Am I stuck here?
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Your left or my left? Let's see now. We could go on the left, or we could go on the right. I don't know about you, but we should go and flip a coin. I want to say heads it's left, tails it's right. So let's just go ahead. Tails, we go on right.
This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
Oh, yeah. The only reason why I'm making this video is because I wanted to try out Stanley Parable because they were giving away for free on the Epic Games Store. Now, I'm definitely never gonna buy anything from the Epic Games Store, most likely, unless there's like a really good deal. Now, it has to be a really good deal, but I don't really feel the need. But I am gonna take a full advantage of the free games they give out. You know, because as long as the game is free, I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna download it.
Ah, yes, truly a room worth admiring. It had really been worth the detour after all, just to spend a few... But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left. Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago.
Oh my goodness, this narrator is kind of savage. Oh.
But in his eagerness to prove that he is in control of the story and no one gets to tell him what to do, Stanley leapt from the platform and plunged to his death. Good job, Stanley. Everyone thinks you are very powerful.
Oh, really? Oh my god, you can tell how annoyed the narrator sounds.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Hold up, what? That room wasn't here before.
When Stanley came to a set of two open, this was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. Wow. Yes, this room. What a beautiful room. What a gorgeous, gorgeous room. Thank goodness Stanley had taken this detour on his way to the meeting room. Life without having experienced this room was now too horrible even to consider. Yes, really worth it being here in the room. A room so utterly captivating that even though all your co-workers have mysteriously vanished, here you sit looking at these chairs and some paintings. Really worth it.
Is he gonna say anything more?
At this point, Stanley's obsession with this room bordered on creepy and reflected poorly on his overall personality. It's possible that this is why everyone left.
Oh my god. That's hilarious. Oh. I gotta admit, you know, this
Stanley
game...
sat around waiting for more dialogue. But when a long time had passed and there was no more, he decided that the game was trying to send him a message.
I see. I want to be here a bit more longer just to see if he says anything else. You know, this game is funny, but like can also be deep at the same time, you know? I don't know. Like an episode of Scrubs. Come on there, Mr. Narrator. You gonna say anything more? Oh, I hope you got more to say, dude. Come on, say it. I'm here even after all.
But at last, he'd had enough of the amazing room and took the first open door on his left to get back to business.
Okay.
And so he detoured through the maintenance section, walked straight ahead to the opposite door, and got back on track.
What's over here?
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
New coffee machine, standard graphic, not cost effective, get Chris out of the broom closet. The broom closet? The Chris has been in the broom closet. Hire someone to synchronize R2, synchronize fire paper guy. Hire someone to fire the paper guys. Synchronize to who moved the desk? Please keep targets on the topic of blah. The future was yesterday, tomorrow is now. Kind of a good quote. Complete today. Unfinished agenda items, right? Next day's agenda reflect. Employee, blah blah. Yeah. Oh, there's the broom closet.
Stanley stepped into the broom closet, but there was nothing here, so he turned around and got back on track.
So this is like crits like the
There was
broom
nothing
closet.
here. No choice to make, no path to follow. Just an empty broom closet. No reason to still be here. It was baffling that Stanley was still just sitting in the broom closet. He wasn't even doing anything. At least if there was something to interact with, he'd be justified in some way. As it is, he's literally just standing there doing sweet FA.
FA.
Are you really still in the broom closet? Standing around doing nothing? Why? Please offer me some explanation here. I'm genuinely confused. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Nah. Walking downstairs is easy. Oh no.
But Stanley just couldn't do it. He considered the possibility of facing his boss. Admitting he had left his post during work hours, he might be fired for that. And in such a competitive economy, why had he taken that risk? All because he believed everyone had vanished? His boss would think he was crazy.
What?
And then something occurred to Stanley. Maybe, he thought to himself, maybe I am crazy. All
No,
of my
this is the
coworkers
part where he
blinking
goes in circle.
mysteriously out of existence in a single moment for no reason at all. None of it made any logical sense. And as Stanley pondered this, he began to make other strange observations. For example, why couldn't he see his feet when he looked down?
Oh, that's the
Why
source
did
engine for
doors
you.
close automatically behind him wherever he went? And for that matter, these rooms were starting to look pretty familiar.
Yeah,
Were they
because you're
simply
literally
repeating?
just going in
No,
circles.
Stanley said to himself, this is all too strange. This can't be real. And at last, he came to the conclusion that had been on the tip of his tongue. He just hadn't found the words for it. I'm dreaming, he yelled. This is all a dream. Oh, what a relief Stanley felt to have finally found an answer, an explanation. His co-workers weren't actually gone. He wasn't going to lose his job. He wasn't crazy after all. And he thought to himself, I suppose I'll wake up soon. I'll have to go back to my boring real-life job pushing buttons. I may as well enjoy this while I'm still lucid. So, he imagined himself flying and began to gently float above the ground. Then he imagined himself soaring through space on a magical starfield, and it too appeared. It was so much fun, and Stanley marveled that he had still not woken up. How was he remaining so lucid? And then perhaps the strangest question of them all entered Stanley's head. One he was amazed he hadn't asked himself sooner. Why is there a voice in my head dictating everything that I'm doing and thinking? Now the voice was describing itself being considered by Stanley, who found it particularly strange. I'm dreaming about a voice describing me, thinking about how it's describing my thoughts, he thought. And while he thought it all very odd, and wondered if this voice spoke to all people in their dreams, the truth was that, of course, this was not a dream. How could it be? Was Stanley simply deceiving himself, believing that if he's asleep, he doesn't have to take responsibility for himself? Stanley is as awake right now as he's ever been in his life. Now, hearing the voice speak these words was quite a shock to Stanley. After all, he knew for certain, beyond a doubt, that this was in fact a dream. Did the voice not see him float and make the magical stars just a moment ago? How else would the voice explain all that? This voice was a part of himself too. Surely, if he could just... He would prove it. He would prove that he was in control, that this was a dream. So he closed his eyes gently, and he invited himself to wake up. He felt the cool weight of the blanket on his skin, the press of the mattress on his back, the fresh air of the world outside this one.
Get the black screen.
Let me wake up, he thought to himself. I'm through with this dream. I wish it to be over. Let me go back to my job. Let me continue pushing the buttons. Please, it's all I want. I want my apartment, and my wife, and my job. All I want is my life exactly the way it's always been. My life is normal. I am normal.
What?
Everything will be fine. I am okay.
Oh, dang it, I'm still in
Stanley
here.
began screaming. Please, someone wake me up. My name is Stanley. I have a boss. I have an office. I am real. Please, just someone tell me I am real. I must be real. I must be. Can anyone hear my voice? Who am I?
Oh my god, this is...
And everything went black.
What?
This is the story of a woman named Mariella.
Mariella?
Mariella
Who
woke
the
up on
heck
a
is
day like any
Mariella?
other. She arose, got dressed, gathered her belongings, and walked to her place of work. But on this particular
Why
day,
are you staring
her
at it?
walk was interrupted by the body of a man who had stumbled through town talking and screaming to himself, and then collapsed dead on the sidewalk. And although she would soon turn to go call for an ambulance, for just a few brief moments she considered the strange man. He was obviously crazy. This much she knew. Everyone knows what crazy people look like. And in that moment, she thought to herself how lucky she was to be normal. I am sane. I am in control of my mind. I know what is real and what isn't. It was comforting to think this, and in a certain way, seeing this man made her feel better. But then she remembered the meeting she had scheduled for that day. The very important people whose impressions of her would affect her career, and by extension, the rest of her life. She had no time for this, so it was only a moment that she stood there, staring down at the body. And then she turned and ran.
What? You did nothing to help you? Oh my goodness. You see, this is the problem. This is why women always are the problem. Anyway, let's go ahead.
All of his co-workers
Do this
were
once
gone.
again.
What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Yeah. Is it just me or did like what did like in that direction the last time? Oh no, this game got me going insane too. Hold up, what?
Oh, and I guess this is where Stanley felt he needed to be right now.
Oh.
In this little hallway. Here,
I don't
with no
remember doing that.
distractions, to study room 417. Not to actually enter it. No. That would be far too forward. Stanley wanted to know it from the outside. To see it not just with his eyes,
They're
but with his
seeming kind of
heart.
screwed there.
He would know room 417 as no man or woman had ever known an office before. That ladder over there. Oh, and that little picture of a horizon or something. It's all just a never-ending parade of joy for Stanley. Ah, no, apparently not.
No, he doesn't. I don't think he says anything when you go back in.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
No.
This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. The lounge was sublime, a work of art. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left. Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago. Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you. What? Really? I was in the middle of something. Do you have zero consideration for others? Are you that convinced that I want something bad to happen to you? Why, I don't know how
I
to
mean, you
convince
did
you of
make
this,
Sandy
but
go
I really
crazy
do want to help you,
and
to show
drop
you something
dead.
beautiful. Look, let me prove it. Let me prove that I'm on your side. Give me a chance.
Danger. Danger everywhere. It's like a whole warehouse.
Now listen carefully, this is important. Stanley walked through the red door.
Okay, what if I went to the blue door?
Aha, perhaps you misunderstood. Stanley walked through the red door.
What?
I still don't think we're communicating properly. Stanley walked through the red door. All right, fine, go ahead, Stanley. You want to know so badly what's out there? You want to find out what lies at the end of this road you've chosen? Well, don't let me stop you. You see? There's nothing here. I haven't even finished building this section of the map because you were never supposed to be here in the first place. Broken rooms, exposed developer textures. Is this what you had wanted? Was it worth ruining the entire story I had written out specifically for you? Do you not think I put a lot of time into that? Because I did. And in the end, it was all for nothing. Because this is what you wanted to see. Help me here, Stanley. Help elucidate these strange and unknowable desires of yours. What would have made this game better? What did you want to see? Vehicles? Skill trees? Work with me. You've given me absolutely nothing so far. Tell you what, let me take a stab in the dark at a new design, and you can give me some feedback. There we go. A third option. This already feels leaps ahead of where we were before. Go ahead, Stanley. Take it for a spin. Okay, I'm going to stop you there. Now, tell me about your experience with this new version. Would you say that the game benefited from allowing you more choices? Feel free to be honest. I'm looking for some real critical feedback here. A 1? I mean, I can understand if you had reservations, you saw ways the game could be improved to more fully express itself mechanically and artistically, but a 1? That's not even helpful. What am I supposed to do with that? But I guess it isn't my place to judge. Here, based on the data from your previous playthrough, I've compiled a new version. And to be perfectly candid, I think I've knocked it out of the park with this one. Let's take a look. Now, would you say that competitive leaderboard helped you feel motivated to keep walking through doors? Again, honest answers, please.
I don't know. I want to put a 1, but I don't know if I should put a 5 too.
Hey, I nearly forgot. I've got a prototype of a new game I've been working on, and now would be a lovely opportunity to give it some playtesting. You wouldn't mind taking a look at it, would you? Perfect.
No.
Let me boot it up.
Loading, 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 loading.
In this game, the baby crawls left towards danger. You click the button to move him back to the right, and if he reaches the fire, you fail. It's a very meaningful game, all about the desperation and tedium of endlessly confronting the demands of family life. I think the art world will really take notice. But of course, the message of the game only becomes clear once you've been playing it for about 4 hours. So
4 hours?
give it 4 hours of play to make sure it's effective. Be sure to keep notes on your experience.
I can't be bothered.
You heartless bastard. Did you do it because you hate babies or purely to spite me?
I did it because I was too lazy to be doing that for 4 hours.
I can't think of a single thing that might improve the experience for me. I'm not even going to try. I'm out, I'm done. It's over. Thank you for playing. Your input was extremely valuable. Oh, hey, since my game was so awful, why don't we play someone else's game? Just to ease the pain. Let's see. What do we have here? Yes, this seems like it'll work. Let's give it a shot.
Oh, Minecraft!
Well, Stan, is
I
this any better? At
yeah,
last,
this is
the
probably
one
the
thing
best
you've
part of
always
this.
desired. A game I had absolutely nothing to do with. But is it enough? Tell me that, Stanley. Will it ever be enough?
Because
Well, I'll say
I really
this.
like it
I'm
because
done
like
making things
Monjing
for you.
was fully
From
on
now on, I
board
will
when
only create
this,
to fulfill a
of this
greater
game being
artistic
referenced here.
purpose. Watch this, Stanley. I'm going to build a house.
Yes.
This will go here. No, here. And then... Let's see, what does it need? Yes, of course. And just to finish it all off... Yes, it's complete. I made this, Stanley. Look at it. Gaze upon my work of art and feel ashamed at your own inadequacy.
Whoa!
But you've only seen it from the outside. You've only gotten half the experience. Please, step inside and make yourself comfortable.
You know what? They should add an option there when you get to the point of not just moving.
Isn't it grand? Isn't it perfect? It could only be
It
better
should
if...
also act.
Wait, that's it. We must rebuild it out of diamond. Diamond everything. Yes, yes, yes. Come along, Stanley. We have to go mining.
Oh, it's actually playing the Minecraft music.
Oh my, it looks like it's going to get a bit dark. Have you brought a light?
Yeah. Come on.
Oh, no, 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 no. This is far more open-ended than I had in mind. I'm looking for something more narrow and linear. Something that makes you feel utterly irrelevant. This won't do at all. 1 out of 5. Even the diamonds couldn't save this one.
Yeah.
Okay, new game.
New game? Oh, I know where this one is gonna take it. I think it's gonna be the 402? Question mark? Yeah, there should be like more game references and like
yes,
the
I don't
remake.
even know what this game is, but I
Remake.
love it. You, trapped in a glass box with no way out, listening to me talk. Oh, it's inspired. I couldn't have done it any better myself. What is this game even supposed to be? I can't figure it out. Okay, now I'm curious. Let's go find out what the hell this is.
Hey. Ah. Yo.
Oh, it's a puzzle. Critical thinking, Stanley. Your forte.
It reminds me, I still need to finish. Still need to finish playing.
Genius.
I want to do something. Oh wait, I need to redo that. I failed it one. See now.
No, actually, you know what? I think
Oh.
that's plenty. I really don't care much to see you stumble through any more of these games. And I highly doubt you're...
What? Oh. See now. What? Okay, fall into the void. Oh, this looks like the mod that I've seen people play. But kind of hard to see this place. Yeah, this is like the original map scenery they used for. What?
I wonder what he found. If what he wanted was to be the leading man in his own story, well, perhaps he's gotten it. Down in wherever he is right now. I
What?
wonder if he's happy with his choice, and if he's learned the heavy cost that comes with it. He'll understand soon what I was trying to tell him. He needs me. Someone who will wrap everything up at the end, to make sense out of the chaos and the fear and the confusion. That's who I am. That is what I mean to this world. Oh, yes. Yes, I'll be back. There's no other way. Once this ends, after it all comes to a close, then I'll be back. The end will be here soon. Very soon. I can wait.
Anything? Oh, it's loading. Get that the ending there then. Okay, I'm gonna begin the game once again.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
You know what? You know what? I don't know why. I'm just gonna go to the right now.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left. Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might... Oh, no, not again. I won't be part of this. I'm not going to encourage you. I'm not going to say anything at all. I'm just going to be patient and wait for you to finish whatever it is you enjoy doing so much in this room. Please take your time. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office. Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Shocked, unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this, what dark secret was being held from him. What he could not have known was that the keypad behind the boss's desk guarded the terrible truth that his boss had been keeping from him. And so the boss had assigned it an extra secret PIN number, 2845. But of course, Stanley couldn't possibly have known this. Stanley just sat around, yet incredibly, by simply pushing random buttons on the keypad, Stanley happened to input the correct code by sheer luck. Amazing. He stepped into the newly opened passageway.
Guess the elevator is the only way we got going now. Maybe I don't remember this game. Much of this game than I last remembered from watching people play it.
Descending deeper into the building, Stanley realized he felt a bit peculiar. It was a stirring of emotion in his chest, as though he felt more free to think for himself, to question the nature of his job. Why did he feel this now, when for years it had never occurred to him? This question would not go unanswered for long. Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
No.
Although this passageway had the word escape written on it, the truth was that at the end of this hall, Stanley would meet his violent death. The door behind him was not shut. Stanley still had every opportunity to turn around and get back on track. At this point, Stanley was making a conscious, concerted effort to walk forward and willingly confront his death.
That's good. Loading. Oh.
As the machine whirred into motion and Stanley was inched closer and closer to his demise, he reflected that his life had been of no consequence whatsoever.
What?
Stanley can't see the bigger picture. He doesn't know the real story, trapped forever in his narrow vision of what this world is. Perhaps his death was of no great loss, like plucking the eyeballs from a blind man.
What?
And so he resigned and willingly accepted this violent end to his brief and shallow life. Farewell, Stanley.
Farewell, Stanley, cried the narrator, as Stanley was led helplessly into the enormous metal jaws.
What?
In a single visceral instant, Stanley was obliterated as the machine crushed every bone in his body, killing him instantly. And yet it would be just a few minutes before Stanley would restart the game, back in his office, as alive as ever. What exactly did the narrator think he was going to accomplish?
Oh, the museum. The museum. Yeah.
When every path you can walk has been created for you long in advance, death becomes meaningless, making life the same. Do you see now? Do you see that Stanley was already dead from the moment he hit start?
That's an interesting view. Do they both go upstairs? I guess they do, but what's this room? Carton. The narrator outtakes. I see. Office.
Oh, look at these two. How they wish to destroy one another. How they wish to control one another. How they both wish to be free.
Let's just go and end this already.
Can you see? Can you see how much they need one another? No, perhaps not. Sometimes these things cannot be seen. But listen to me. You can still save these two. You can stop the program before they both fail.
Oh no, now she started talking directly to me.
There's no other way to beat this game. As long as you move forward, you'll be walking someone else's path. Stop now and it'll be your only true choice. Whatever you do, choose it. Don't let time choose for you. Don't let time
Shut up, lady. I like the other guy better. Come on. Oh, come on. Why is it not loading? Nothing's loading. Come on. Do something. Come on. You don't have all day. I had to take you on summer vacation mode. Okay, I'm just gonna have to begin the game because nothing's happening.
Stanley had never seen the office this brightly lit. Was it a sign of something? He
Was
hoped
it
it
a
was.
sign of something?
He
I
hoped
don't
very
know.
much that it was.
Let's see now.
When Stanley came to a set of two open doors, he entered the door on his left. Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go into his boss's office.
He
might
boarded
find an
off the
answer
broom
there.
closet.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Oh, this page is open now. Code right can say anything about this. Oh, this song. It's copyright free, I think. People always put. Okay, that's nothing. So let's just actually, can we go into the bathroom now? Oh yes, we can. I got the feeling money's for eating, but not yours, Accord. Say, that's a lovely purse. Ice cream bathroom time. Toilet paper.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. What? Stanley was in such a rush to get through the story as quickly as possible, he didn't even have a single minute to just let the narrator talk. That kind of anxiety isn't healthy, so he relaxed for a few moments with some calming new age music.
Okay, can I get out of the room then? No. Oh, you would think that the shelf is actually modeled, but no,
Feeling
it's just a
soothed
block.
and rejuvenated, Stanley calmly walked forward into the opened passageway.
Does the door open? Okay, now it's making me make this switch. We'll go down. Loading, 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 loading.
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility. The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength to find out? Now the monitors jumped to life, their true nature revealed. Each bore the number of an employee in the building, Stanley's co-workers. The lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen, and Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing.
Okay, so everyone had a security camera in their office.
This mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly? No. He refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never! It was unthinkable, wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world? But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions. Happy, or sad, or content. Walking, eating, working. All of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he would dismantle the... Oh, Stanley, you didn't just activate the controls, did you? After they kept you enslaved all these years... You wanted control? Oh, Stanley, I applaud your effort, I really do. But you need to understand, there's only so much that machine can do. You were supposed to let it go, turn the controls off, and leave. If you want to throw my story off track, you're going to have to do much better than that. I'm afraid you don't have nearly the power you think you do. For example, and I believe you'll find this pertinent, Stanley suddenly realized he had just initiated the network's emergency detonation system. In the event that this machine is activated without proper DNA identification, nuclear detonators are set to explode, eliminating the entire complex. How long until detonation then? Let's say 2 minutes. Now this is making things a little more fun, isn't it, Stanley? It's your time to shine. You are the star. It's your story now. Shape it to your heart's desires. Oh, this is much better than what I had in mind. What a shame we have so little time left to enjoy it. Mere moments until the bomb goes off. But what precious moments each one of them is. More time to talk about you, about me, where we're going, what all this means. I barely know where to start. What's that? You'd like to know where your co-workers are? A moment of solace before you're obliterated? All right, I'm in a good mood. You're gonna die anyway. I'll tell you exactly what happened to them. I erased them. I turned off the machine. I set you free. Of course, that was merely in this instance of the story. Sometimes when I tell it, I simply let you sit there in your office forever, pushing buttons endlessly and then dying alone. Other times, I let the office sink into the ground, swallowing everyone inside, or I let it burn to a crisp. I have to say this, though. This version of events has been rather amusing. Watching you try to make sense of everything and take back the control wrested away from you, it's quite rich. I almost hate to see it go. But I'm sure whatever I come up with on the next go-around will be even better. My goodness, only 34 seconds left. But I'm enjoying this so much. You know what? To hell with it. I'm going to put some extra time on the clock. Why not? These are precious additional seconds, Stanley. Time doesn't grow on trees. Oh dear me, what's the matter, Stanley? Is it that you have no idea where you're going or what you're supposed to be doing right now? Or did you just assume when you saw that timer that something in this room was capable of turning it off? I mean, look at you. Running from button to button, screen to screen, clicking on every little thing in this room. These numbered buttons, no, these colored ones. Or maybe this big red button, or this door. Everything, anything, something here will save me. Why would you think that, Stanley? That this video game can be beaten? Won? Solved? Do you have any idea what your purpose in this place is? Stanley, you're in for quite a disappointment. But here's a spoiler for you. That timer isn't a catalyst to keep the action moving along. It's just seconds ticking away to your death. You're only still playing instead of watching a cutscene because I want to watch you for every moment that you're powerless. To see you made humble. This is not a challenge. It's a tragedy. You wanted to control this world, that's fine. But I'm going to destroy it first, so you can't. Take a look at the clock, Stanley. That's 30 seconds you have left to struggle. 30 seconds until a big boom and then nothing. No ending here, just you being blown to pieces. Will you cling desperately to your frail life, or will you let it go peacefully? another choice. Make it count, or don't. It's all the same to me, all a part of the joke. And believe me, I will be laughing at every second of your
Oh my
inevitable life
god.
from the moment we
Someone
fade
could
in
have a
until the
seizure
moment I
looking
say,
at this.
happily ever up.
Ooh, and everything blew up. But I think that's all the time we have today for this game. Anyway, guys, I don't want it to go on too long, so I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.